Hi. Europe's historic fashion houses are leaning into heritage this season, and Balmain is no exception. Olivier Rousteing has been excavating Balmain's history over the past few years, notably surfacing a labyrinth monogram that quickly became a strong franchise for the house alongside knitwear and its heavily embellished cocktail attire. For fall 2023, Rousteing dug back nearly to the start of Pierre Balmain, established in 1945 with its new French style, and also zeroed in on the founder's pinch-waisted Jolie Madame silhouette from 1953, even providing archival photos and press notes laden with the couturier's words of wisdom. A fragrance called Jolie Madame, which later gave its name to the 1952 Haute Couture collection, paved the way for Pierre Balmain's Couture. 1945. Paris was just emerging from the Second World War, when Pierre Balmain founded his atelier at 44 Rue François I in Paris. Having previously worked for Lucien Lelong and Edward Molyneux, Balmain soon established himself as one of the masters of sewing. On October 12 of that year, the designer presented his very first collection. Critics were unanimous. The sober yet graphic use of fabrics combining green, brown, red and lavender creates an appealing sophistication. In 1949, Balmain released its first perfume, called Jolie Madame. The designer captured a fragrance of adventure for evenings of passion and charm. In fact, the Jolie Madame fragrance distilled the eerie spirit and atmosphere of Parisian nights after the war. With its composition, the fragrance directly borrows the image of feminine sensuality. It belongs to the floral chypre family, in which clove is associated with orange blossom with jasmine or even patchouli. Intense notes for a fragrance synonymous with elegance and sophistication. The success was so great, the perfume was so right, that in anticipation of the fall-winter season of 1952, Pierre Balmain called his collection Jolie Madame. From then on, the Balmain style became mainstream, and with it the embroidery, shoulder pads and waistline became the visual codes of the new woman. Many celebrities favored the Jolie Madame silhouettes. Little dresses with a twist and short veils for cocktail parties, the Parisian style was born at the same time that the golden age of fashion made Paris shine. This return to luxury, to the allure and elegance of noble materials because rare, precious because highly crafted, was quickly defined as the new French style by the mythical Gertrude Stein, in Vogue magazine. This iconic collection is full of historic pieces, big ball gowns, fridge jackets, and ermine evening skirts, all of which made their way into the most legendary locker rooms. From 1993 to 2002, Oscar de la Renta took over the artistic direction of the house, which, with its own identity, remained faithful to the essence of Pierre Balmain's Jolie Madame Couture. And when we wonder about the kinship between Olivier Rousteing and this iconic collection by Pierre Balmain, who often accuses talent of uncontrolled luxury, the artistic director has something to say. However, my Balmain woman is a very French woman. French style is not only the style of Saint-Germain-des-Prés. My version of France is the flamboyance of Versailles, the magic of the City of Lights. Poiret, Balmain, Dior, Balenciaga. They all worked on luxury. The Eiffel Tower is the opposite of minimalism. Similarly, Madame Jolie's style is the opposite of gloomy. Rejecting broad pagoda shoulders and fancy Frankenstein boots, Though he still wears them himself, the designer deftly interpreted more modest mid-century silhouettes. He added his own frills, cutting off the shoulders of a Jolie Madame jacket to create a sculpted corset, and completing many of the looks with pants, either flared with shoes, like the ones he wore backstage, or velvet capri pants. There were also Dior-inspired skirts, which are appearing on many catwalks this season, even by so-called edgy designers. This Balmain show was a civilized event with free-flowing champagne, plush banquettes, a maximum of 250 guests and Frank Sinatra singing, a far cry from his recent stadium spectacles with musical performers, mojitos in plastic cups and exaggerated creations visible from nosebleed seats. Intimacy, Rousteing said, referring to the desire to reduce the fireworks around fashion and focus on dress quality and timelessness. So it's a tribute to Paris, he said, leading the visitor past models backstage and pointing to little capes, moire patterns, bows and other house codes. Olivier enlisted Stephen Jones to make the hats, an interpretation of the founder's most famous couture tops. This enhanced the vintage look of the silhouettes, and not always for the better, but it's a matter of taste. But having seen the clothes close up, one could appreciate the possibilities of the atelier and the quieter sides of Rousteing's design expression. The way the crystal mini dress was reduced to one big fan of ruffles, the way he haphazardly scattered polka dots on silk separates, or pearls on a cozy knitwear and a flared velvet coat. Humorous accessories: a toolkit with the PB logo for a denim blouse with a bow and jeans, a camera-shaped bag for a velvet ensemble with a beret added moments of levity and sly humor. The sculpted bustier with soft thighs and tapered breasts carried the scent of Gaultier, left over from his one-time couture collection for Gaultier last July. Gaultier is part of my story now. I've learned so much from the masters. As an example, the almost transparent, minimalist cape that closed the show consisted of faceted crystals strung together like a couture version of a beaded curtain. It was truly dazzling. The collection is dominated by sculptural pieces, with angular silhouettes created from luxurious fabrics. Most of the looks reflected the colorless palette of the venue, with some bold exceptions, such as an iridescent green dress with pagoda shoulders and a fluffy purple coat with exaggerated lapels. While many of the looks were designed to add volume to the shoulders, others were cut to expose them seductively. In others, the fabric was intriguingly wrapped around them. Pearls, crystals, and fur accents lent texture and opulence to many of the pieces, creating a luxurious and interesting collection reminiscent of old-school glamour, and even 80s glam rock, albeit in a very sophisticated interpretation. Bravo, Olivier. Thanks for your watching. Your Valerie.